Welcome back. British Prime Minister Theresa May, future hanging in the balance. Boris Johnson is resigning as foreign minister. He resigned yesterday, becoming the third official to do so since Sunday. The issue at hand is Theresa May's approach for Britain to exit the European Union, which some are saying is becoming too soft. This is now leading to calls for a no-confidence vote in May's majority government. Joining us now is the director of the Heritage Foundation's Margaret Thatcher Center for Freedom, Nile Gardiner. Nile, good to see you this morning. Thanks so much for weighing in.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
How would you characterize the situation right now?
Well, I'd say it's been a terrible couple of days, actually, for the Prime Minister. We've seen the resignation of two of the biggest figures in the Cabinet, Boris Johnson yesterday, the Foreign Secretary on Sunday, David Davis, the Brexit Secretary, resigned. And so this is a government really in a state of turmoil following the Prime Minister's new Brexit proposals unveiled on Friday, which many Conservatives here view as extraordinarily weak-kneed. And as Boris Johnson said yesterday in an article, he said that the Brexit dream is actually dying. And so I think there's real concern among the Brexiteers here that the government is moving towards a soft Brexit. There's far too much accommodation with the European Union. There are major questions over Britain's future relationship with the European Union. And so I think that, yeah, there's an escalating sense of turmoil. I was in the Palace of Westminster for most of yesterday talking to MPs. Many Conservative MPs are deeply disillusioned with the direction the British government is heading down towards on Brexit.
Niall, did something change? Did something change? Why is she moving so slowly?
Well, I think that, Theresa May has moved towards a far more accommodationist approach towards dealing with Brussels, with the European Commission. Many of her own advisers, of course, are not Brexiteers. And so she has delegated most of the negotiations with the EU to civil servants who do not necessarily have Brexit at heart. And so I think she sidelined a lot of the key Brexit figures in the cabinet. Of course, David Davis, the Brexit secretary, had an increasingly small role to play in the actual negotiations. In fact, Theresa May's own team of civil servants really headed those negotiations. And with Boris Johnson exiting, who, in my view, was a superb foreign secretary, he's someone who tremendously believed in British sovereignty and self-determination. Now that Boris Johnson is out of the cabinet, I have to say it's an extremely worrying situation.
To that point, Niall, all of the top cabinet officials, so with Jeremy Hunt picked to replace Boris Johnson, are people, May included herself, that opposed Brexit before it happened. So as those of us on the outside looking in try to figure out what happens next, help us get there. There's been talk about a May government being toppled. I would think we showed markets just a minute ago before you were coming on, or just as you were speaking, and we don't see much upsetment there. The FTSE in London is up again this morning. I would think there'd be more upheaval in markets if we were moving towards that. Is it possible May's just consolidating power and actually getting stronger? What happens next?
Well, that's a very good question. Certainly, of course, Theresa May is trying to further consolidate power. She's putting in place many people who are seen to be far more loyal to her in key positions. I don't think you're going to see a leadership challenge to the Prime Minister during the course of the summer. You have 2 more weeks until parliamentary recess, and then Parliament reconvenes again in the autumn. So if there is a leadership challenge, I would say it's likely to be in September or October. You need 48 Conservative MPs to send in letters to the chairman of the 1922 backbench committee expressing no confidence in the Prime Minister. That would then trigger a no-confidence vote. You would need a simple majority of MPs in that no-confidence vote to create a leadership contest. Right now, I think Theresa May feels confident that she has enough votes to remain as the Prime Minister. But, in politics, things can happen at an absolutely incredibly fast pace. And so you could well see a leadership challenge coming in the fall. I don't think you're going to see it right now. You're not going to see it in the course of the summer. There isn't enough time for that. And so the markets, I think, are settled at the moment. But anything could happen, I think, in the autumn.
Now, what does all this infighting inside her government mean for the Brexit process itself? What are the next few landmarks for that? And does it look like they're going towards a softer exit or a harder exit after these resignations?
Well, I think the government's moving towards a softer Brexit. There's no doubt about it. The Theresa May proposal has been condemned as a surrender by a lot of Brexit MPs who feel that it gives the European Union far too much power. It also potentially limits the ability, in the view of many Conservative MPs, for Britain to be able to negotiate independent free trade deals, actually, in a post-Brexit era. Also, there's a belief that the May proposal could result in Britain agreeing to freedom of movement for EU nationals into the United Kingdom. That would be a complete violation of the Brexit pledge made by the Prime Minister just over a year ago. So the next step, of course, is for the Prime Minister to try and sell this deal to the European Commission, to Brussels, to the EU's leadership. It remains to be seen, of course, whether the EU actually buys into her proposals. They're likely to push for even further concessions, actually, which could make Theresa May's position absolutely untenable, actually, within the Conservative Party. So a great deal remains to be seen. But I'm very concerned that the government is making concession after concession to the European Commission.
Yeah.
And the EU elite certainly will be trying to bleed Britain of every single possible concession they can get.
Right.
You don't start negotiations from a position of weakness. And unfortunately,
sure.
I think the Prime Minister's going into these positions
making these concessions and upsetting her own base, and yet it's not even enough for the European Union, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they will want further concessions from Britain. They sense a very weak, divided government right now. And I think, my concern is that the British government is seen as a real pushover by Brussels. And that is a terrible position for Britain to be in.
Right.
And now that Johnson and Davis are out of the cabinet, I have real concerns that this government has the backbone to negotiate a strong sovereign deal for the United Kingdom.
And that is the issue. Nile, it's good to have your insights. Thanks very much.
My pleasure. Thanks very much.
Nile Gardiner joining us there.